Games nowadays are expensive. Like, selling a kidney just to afford the new Mario Kart or Doom expensive. It's actually getting ridiculous. I still remember the days when a AAA game here in the UK was like $39.99. You could get a £50 Steam card, pre-order Prey 2017, and then spend that extra £10 gambling for shitty hats on Team Fortress 2. Now, in the economy we're currently in, it feels like a genuine investment to buy any AAA game, and it's just stupid. Which is why most of you are probably subscribed to the service known as Xbox Game Pass. Now, if you don't already know, Game Pass is a subscription where for up to £15 a month, you can play, well, almost anything really. I mean that, you can play shit ranging from Doom the Dark Ages to some random ass indie game you've probably never heard of that'll change your life after beating it. There's also so many brand new AAA games that come to Game Pass day one. Again, Doom the Dark Ages is a perfect example. Game Pass is probably the most consumer-friendly way to play anything currently. I fucking hate it though. See, as much as Game Pass is an amazing way to have access to and play games, I do think it is kind of becoming a detriment to Xbox and like all of the studios they own, with them all being slowly picked off one by one because of what I assume is Game Pass's fault. I mean, it's like the only thing they have going for them currently. And have you seen the state of them right now? They literally have nothing else apart from Game Pass. The biggest question going around right now is wondering if Game Pass is actually sustainable. And whilst no one has a proper answer for this, as no one outside of Xbox has really seen any data to show this, I do actually think it is sustainable. Very much so. For Microsoft and Xbox at least, and for like nobody else. Especially not the developers from the companies they've been buying out. Considering how many they've bought just to shut down due to what I assume are a lack of sales because of people taking the Game Pass route rather than buying the games themselves, which I really don't blame people for doing. Have you seen the price of Doom the Dark Ages? No one is buying that for full price. I mean, I genuinely don't know what else it could have been. I've even tried looking into what others think online, and it's just constant mixed opinions of people contradicting each other. But personally, I cannot think of what else could have happened apart from this being Game Pass's fault. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush and Tango Gameworks were the first Game Pass victims since the Xbox acquisition. I talk so much about how much I love Tango Gameworks and their games, especially Hi-Fi Rush, and when it came out it received just as much love from critics and the general audience. It even released at half the price of a AAA game, despite having the same amount of love, care, and quality put into it. It was a success supposedly. Hell, even Xbox themselves said they needed more games like Hi-Fi Rush, with the developers celebrating with a tweet saying 3 million people had played it. Keyword being played, not bought. About 80% of those players I can imagine were from Game Pass, because it was on there day one. So if it was such a success according to Microsoft, why the fuck were Tango Gameworks taken out back and shot because of Hi-Fi Rush? See, my theory is Microsoft, just like many other companies, use the amount of game sales as a way to determine whether or not it's a success. I mean, it's a good way to gather information on general interest in the game, and it's also what a lot of the stinky inbred shareholders like to look at and fucking jerk off to when the green arrow fucking rises. Fucking cretins, I hate shareholders! With Game Pass, the sale for it is an overall subscription that really muddies the water when it comes to general interest in certain games. See, they don't know if people are just getting Game Pass to play Hi-Fi Rush, or any other game for that matter. So when it comes to the chopping block of which studio needs to be shut down so their CEOs can keep their 500 million bonus, it most likely comes down to which game sold the least from which company. And yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, a game that was shadow dropped by a company that is known for an underrated horror series, was probably the easiest target for that chopping block. Well, and Redfall, but that one I do kind of understand because it's fucking dog shit. But I don't think they should have shut down the studio. I really think they should have stopped to think who they were shutting down beforehand, because Arkane Austin, the creators of Redfall, also made Prey 2017, a project they were actually passionate about making rather than being forced to follow trends like they were with Redfall. And it's only the best game ever made. To be honest, Prey wasn't exactly a hot seller either, so they would have been taken out back and shot right next to Tango regardless. Speaking of Arkane though, the founder of the company spoke out against Game Pass, saying things like, "I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging to the industry for a decade by Microsoft's infinite money, but at some point reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up. I'm fed up with all the bullshit they fed us at first, like don't worry it doesn't impact the sales, only to admit later that it totally does." This puts a lot of this into perspective. I mean, he could definitely be chatting out of his arse. I would also be pretty bitter if the company I founded was shut down because of subscription service, but what he's saying does make sense. It really does feel like a vicious cycle of Xbox buying out companies to force their games to be day one on Game Pass, only for them to believe there's little interest in the game that's being put on there. Whilst I don't know exactly if Game Pass is to blame for this, I do want to point out they literally laid off 9,000 employees recently and shut down multiple projects, including the new Perfect Dark. Billion-dollar company, by the way. There's also a rumor that they did this because they wanted to replace employees with AI because it would be cheaper or some shit. I don't know much about that. I can't really comment on that. Oh, before I finish up, I also want to point out that Doom the Dark Ages had a similar post to Hi-Fi Rush about 3 million players. They use the term players instead of sales, just like Hi-Fi Rush. It's only a matter of time until they get id Software, and I have no idea if Indiana Jones did too well either outside of Game Pass, so yep, machine games might be next too. So we can say goodbye to a possible Wolfenstein 3, all thanks to Microsoft.